Welcome to another episode of Out of Spec Dave, where here I am in Rowayton at the dog park, and Bailey is just having a great time. And you know, I've been thinking, I haven't really given very much of an update on my Model 3, the rear wheel drive LFP that I've had. I've actually had two of them, and you know, I'm getting a little sad that I'm going to be trading that in on the Model X, and I just wanted to kind of go over how's my experience been. It's an amazing car. But I wanted to give you my perception of the top 5 things I like and top 5 things I don't like about this car. Now, I'm going to stay away from the obvious things that everyone likes, or at least most people like about Tesla. You know, the charging network, the reliability of just the car itself, the app, the preconditioning, the plug-in charge, the battery preconditioning, the plug-in charge, and the en route destination and the planning for how to find the superchargers. All those things are pretty obvious. Oh yeah, and dog mode, of course, right? Is a tribute to Bailey somewhere over there. I don't know where she is, but I'm going to get a little bit deeper into some of the more obscure things that either, you know, that really I like or don't like for me. But I will tell you, an amazing car. I definitely will miss it. If I was going to keep 3 cars, I would absolutely keep this car. So let's get into it and check out my top 5 likes and dislikes of the Model 3. In this case, the LFP rear wheel drive, the base one. All right, well, here it is. I've got Miss Bailey with me after the dog park. She's all fired up. She wants to come make the video with me. You see, I've got her on dog mode right now. So the first point that I want to make is it's just easy to live with as a daily driver. And I really have enjoyed owning this car. And I would highly recommend this to anyone that is thinking about just getting a car. The second point I want to make is this particular vehicle is the price. I mean, these things are really quite inexpensive compared to any other car, let alone a Tesla. You know, they're under 40 grand now. Plus, you're most likely going to get some kind of a state tax refund, assuming you live in a state where there are refunds. So, for example, in the state of Connecticut, this car absolutely qualifies for a $2,250 right off the hood. They take the price right off the car. And then it also qualifies for the $7,500 federal tax credit. So if you're smart and you live in the right state, I believe in the state of California, you can get $15,000 off the price of this car. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that you get $7,500, well, obviously the federal tax credit if you qualify. And then also you've got the, I think there's $7,500 off the hood on in the state. So pretty amazing there as well. The third thing I really love about this car is the battery pack that's in this car. Now, the range on this car is only about 270 miles, EPA rated range, but it has the LFP, which is a lithium iron phosphate battery or lithium ferrous phosphate battery, which allows you to charge the car to 100% every day if you wanted to. I don't. I could, but I don't. There's no real need to. I like to keep the battery pack anywhere between, let's say, 20 and 80% as a daily driver. But what's nice about this is since you can charge it up to 100% every day, the usable mileage range or EPA of this car is about the same as, let's just say, the long range if you're only charging the long range up to 80%. So I think that's a really good feature. Rumor has it these LFP batteries are supposed to last longer than a traditional lithium-ion battery. I don't really know. Recently, they just put this battery into the Model Y, which is in the rear-wheel drive version of the Model Y. And yeah, so I think that's a really good thing. The other thing I just want to, speaking of rear-wheel drive, the fourth thing that I really love about this car is it's actually quicker than the number says. Now, 0 to 60 on this car, they say is 5.8 seconds, but this car really zips along a lot faster. It feels a lot faster than that. I think it's kind of like, because of the fact it's relatively light compared to, let's say, an S or an X or a Y. You know, it just feels quicker than it is. Now, when you really get on it, don't get me wrong, it's not going to move like a performance will, or it's not going to keep pulling. But you know, you have to ask yourself a question: for what this car is at the price point it's at, do you really need that? The fifth point that I want to make: a lot of people give Tesla a lot of noise and a lot of garbage for the fact that they are not necessarily built all that well. Now, I kind of have a bittersweet answer on this. The first Model 3 LFP rear-wheel drive that I had was the exact same car, white on black. The name of this car is Xerox. I ended up trading in the original one that I had because I was able to get the values had stayed strong on these cars. The fact is that this car really is pretty tight. Now, the first one I had problems underneath the wheel well here in the front, where the black plastic piece up in here was, you can kind of hear it rattling in there, but at speed, in the first one that I had, it was really rattling a lot. And it sounded like there was rattling coming from inside the door. Couple that with the fact that the seat squeaked, and I mean, it just kind of drove me crazy. But they, you know, look, they replaced the whole front seat, driver's seat, and Tesla took care of me on that front. So that was very good that they did that. But I think it's actually a pretty well-built car. The seams, everybody gets all hung up about the seams on these cars and all of that, but I think it's really good. Let's jump over to some of the negatives now. So the first thing is that personally, if you're a family, this isn't necessarily a negative, but it is a four-seater. Maybe you could squeeze five, you know, three in the back, maybe not three big adults, but the rear, the way that this the way that this trunk opens here is, I wish it were a hatchback. Now you see, it's got a lot of room back in here, and there's a decent amount of space underneath the floor there. But the thing is, I wish it were a hatchback. One of the reasons why you do have, I meant to mention this earlier, you have great visibility out the back of this Model 3 compared to the Model Y, because you have this giant piece of glass over here, whereas in the Model Y, it's a little bit smaller and it's a little higher back up in here as well. So the visibility out the back of this Model 3 is definitely better than the Model Y. But I wish it were a hatchback. I was hoping the Model 3 refresh was going to be a hatchback, but it's not. The second thing is, what I don't like, and this goes for pretty much all the Teslas now, is vision only. What does that mean? That means that the way with which this car sees any of the cars around it for you know, advanced driver assistance, it's all being done based on cameras. There's cameras up in here. You've got cameras over here. You've got cameras in the B pillar and on both sides of the car. And I'm finding that at night, the B-pillar cameras are losing the ability to recognize cars. Now, this is a hardware 3 car. This is not a hardware 4 car. And if you notice, you'll see a lot of times cars have sensors, ultrasonic sensors, little round circles in the plastic in the bumpers there. And this car does not have any of those ultrasonic sensors. So when you're pulling into a tight spot or a garage or whatever it is, you've got to be really careful, because the way with which it's estimating the distance that you are from an object is, be super careful with that, is what I would say. The other thing is, there's no cross-traffic alert. So some of the cars that are out there that are very cheap, some of the Hyundais, Tucsons, they'll warn you if there's a car that's driving, you know, across this way in the rear or in the front, if there's a car there, and it will not only warn you that there's a car there, but it will actually hit the brakes and it'll stop you from hitting those cars. The other thing is, there's no blind spot alerts in the mirrors. Now, what I understand is that in the new Model 3 refresh, they are going to be adding those blind spot little lights, indicators in the mirrors. And why that's really good is because in the screen in this car is in the center. And if you're looking in your left-hand mirror and checking your blind spot on the driver's side of the car, you're not looking at that center screen, you're looking over by your left-hand mirror. And so by putting that light in the mirror, I think it's an admission of Tesla that the safety was a little bit degraded, and I'd like to see that added to all of the Teslas. You know, if they're going to put that in the new version of the Juniper, or maybe they can enhance the Model S's and the X's who still don't have any of that cross-traffic alert. So I think as much as this car is super safe, I think that they could do some things to increase the safety on this. Now, this is just for me. I'm 6'5". The car is low. Now, the Model S is low as well, but the Model S, I had a lot of trouble with the B pillar when you're getting in and out of the car. I'll show you what I mean here. But in the Model 3, by the way, these door handles, you get used to them. They don't bother me. A lot of people say, oh, they're kind of weird. There she is, Miss Bailey. She's over there. This B pillar in the Model S is really far forward compared to the way it is in the Model 3. The door opening is quite good for a four-door car. It opens up at a decent angle that allows you to get in the car pretty well. But I just find that it's low. And you know, this new Model X that I'm going to be getting, call me lazy, but you know, it's just so much easier to get in and out of the Model Y or the Model X. So that's really good. The other thing is that there's a couple of things this car does not have, which, because it's the rear wheel drive, the base model, there are no front fog lights on this car. And I do kind of miss them at night when I'm driving. The headlights are great. The headlights that are on this car are actually I think they're the upgraded headlights. I forget what they call them, but they're the better headlights that typically wouldn't come. There's Bailey. She's saying, "Come on, let's go." But listen, you know, just to kind of summarize this little video here, this is a tremendously good car. I can't recommend it enough. It's you know, the value that they're at right now. Tesla just lowered the price by another $2,000, and when the new Model 3 refresh comes out, that's going to be more money, I think. Some interesting things that they're doing with that car to make this car even better. But listen, this is an amazing car. I highly recommend it. I think it's one of the better cars I've ever owned. And yeah, I'm excited about getting the Model X, but I definitely will miss this Model 3. All right, so Bailey, there's the Model 3. You wanted out of the car. Now she's out of the car. There she is. So, all right. Well, anyway, listen, I hope you enjoyed watching this quick little video with Bailey and myself. And it's a great little car. Those are my 5 sort of likes and dislikes of this Model 3. I definitely will miss it. Bailey, what do you keep looking at, girl? Huh? What do you keep looking at? Oh, man. Well, anyway, thanks again for watching another episode of Out of Spec Dave. And we, both Bailey and I, will catch you on the next one. Take care now. Bye-bye.